sleep with the thunder.
Hello there, I'm Munchkin, and this is my partner, Edgar. And welcome to Buried Entertainment. I came here today to convince you to watch the marvelous misadventures of Flapjack. But let me ask you a couple of questions first. Do you like creepy stuff, mixed in with adult jokes? Do you have a vague memory of what was on TV during the 2000s? Do you have
Just get to the point.
Okay. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack was a Cartoon Network show that ran from 2008 to 2010. The show was created by Thurop van Orman, a name that you may recognize because he worked in many other Cartoon Network shows at the time. And recently, he just directed the Angry Birds 2 movie. Oh, and it's also the voice of Little Gideon in the Gravity Falls show. Thurop wanted his show to be about the things he loved as a child and shaped his life as an adult. You know, the sea, the sense of adventure, and of course, candy. The show mainly focused on the adventures of a little boy named, well, Flapjack. Flapjack, voiced by Thurop himself, is a young orphan boy who wishes nothing more in this world than to become an adventurer and sail the seven seas looking for new thrills in a mythical place called Candid Island with his best friends by his side. A drunken sailor by the name of Captain Knuckles and his adopted mother whale, Booby. Captain Knuckles, voiced by the brother of Bill Murray, Brian Doyle Murray, Knuckles is Flapjack's best friend and personal hero. He is an egotistical, semi-incompetent sailor who lies to Flapjack all the time, and it's often the main root cause of conflict in the show when his schemes to obtain candy go astray, which is like 90% of the show, in all honesty. Knuckles, although being a really toxic person, really seems to care for both Flapjack and Booby, even if he doesn't show it all the time, and when he does, it's in its own Knuckles kind of way.
Be my new family. You could take care of me like Flap and Bubby used to, and I can yell at you and sleep on your tongue. Now, which one of you wants me to sleep inside of you first?
Booby, voiced by Ross Ryan, is on the other hand a counterbalance to Knuckles' bad teachings. She's nice, caring, and a million more times more responsible and capable of taking care of Flapjack than him. But she lets Knuckles stay because on top of the fact that Flapjack loves him, she also thinks that Flapjack needs a masculine role around the house. Well, there's that, and the fact that Booby thinks Flapjack should talk to someone else that is not marine wildlife. They live in Stormalong Harbor, a place full of pirates, candy, and just plain old insanity. And if you like weird stuff, well, the show has a plethora to offer. But if you think that people just remember Flapjack because it was weird, well, let me tell you that you are technically correct. I mean, that's the main reason why people even remember the show. But the show is more than just sparks of insanity and ugliness flashing around. No, the show had a lot to offer. For example, the show had no problem in balancing emotions and comedy with its own insanity. It tried exploring themes such as identity, loneliness, addiction, trauma, attachment, and many other things. Of course, they explored them in their own weird kind of demented type of way, but still, this type of stuff wasn't being explored in children's cartoons at the time. And when it comes to comedy, the show had a pretty unique sense of humor.
We're running low on water, food, and overall enthusiasm. It's time to turn back.
She's right, boy. This is my last pair.
Overall enthusiasm, overall enthusiasm, overall enthusiasm, yeah!
Mainly because the creator thought that the show should have a semi-grown-up kind of humor to it, in order to attract the older demographics, such as young adults and teenagers, under the logic that if kids saw their older siblings enjoying it, they would want to watch it as well. And there are many examples of different types of comedy throughout the show, reaching from banter, slapstick, non sequiturs, etc. I mean, and yes, sometimes the show got a little bit too weird or eccentric even for its own good, but you cannot deny the show has some really inventive humor. The plot structure usually goes something among the lines of this. The characters do or want something, and an opportunity to achieve or gain said thing immediately comes up, but they always screw up by fault of their own choices or character flaws. AKA, Knuckles doing something stupid and the opportunity twists itself into a weird threat or obstacle just to punish them. Some nightmare fuel in the middle, then Flapjack attempts to solve the conflict, which results in usually the problem being solved by itself or by the monsters or entities in the show. And then they just wait for the next weird thing to show up. Something that I want to personally point out in here is that I love how the show never shies away from its own setting. Stormalong Harbor is set somewhere in the Northern Ocean and somewhere in the 1800s. And the show never shies away from its own time period. You know, child slavery, sickness, etc. Another thing you may know the show by is for the fact that many people who used to work on it went to create successful shows of their own. Something that is not really uncommon in the entertainment business nowadays, but something I found particularly interesting is to see the characteristics of each episode depending on who's writing it. For example, with J.G. Quintel, the creator of regular show, you can see a bigger focus on more down-to-earth stories and changing character dynamics. With Jackie Bush Carino, the voice of Sally Syrup in the show, and also producer in Steven Universe, and also the voice of Onion's mom, you can see a bigger focus on characters' emotions and relationships. With Alex Hirsch, creator of Gravity Falls, and Pendleton Ward, creator of Adventure Time, you can see a bigger focus on setting and introducing new bizarre characters to the show. But if you're still not convinced, or you just maybe don't want to watch 3 full seasons, I made this little list for you. In my opinion, these 5 episodes are a pretty good example of what the show is about, and you can see them and then decide for yourself. And just in any case, these other 5 are my personal favorites. But I warn you, they mostly deal with depression and loneliness. At the end of the day, Flapjack is still far from a perfect show. I mean, I like it, but I have to admit it has a lot of problems, and some decisions made by the creators are understandably not for everyone. But still, the show helped create the landscape of TV animation as we know it today in one of the leading networks, and always stayed true to its own identity, and even managed to have a soul even with the fact that it was a pretty insane show from beginning to end. So what can you say except for adventure? Adventure! Edgar! Adventure!
I'm not saying it.
Oh, please!
I don't want to.
Please!
Okay. Adventure.
Thank you. Adventure!
Hit it, fellas! Adventure, 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 adventure,
Adventure. Well, I know